Okay, let us talk about writing what we're going to call a rhetorical analysis. It's where we look at the author's words and we compare them to the Aristotle's triangle. So we look at what is the author doing to establish himself as a speaker? How is the author connecting to an audience? And how is that the foundation for pushing the message? So, the first thing I did is I went through and I pulled quotes that I thought were strongly related to him as a speaker, how he's connecting to the audience, or his message. So, it started, and by the way, this category is from all through the piece. So, what I did is I read the piece, and every time I found strong quotes, I pulled it out and I categorized them. The first category I put is how he's describing the addict, which is both him relating to the audience. It's kind of true that everyone likes, criticizing an addict, but it's also part of that message. What is it that addiction is doing? So anytime I hit something about addiction, I put it into the first category, and you can see what happened to my first category. Okay. This is also about the addict, so I will pull it up into the first category. The second category, I was like, okay, well, he has some scientific stuff. I thought I might be able to write about how he was trying to present this in a scientific way, but in the end, there's actually not enough evidence to say that he's presenting this scientifically. So if I say that, I am wrong. So analysis can be wrong. You can make different inferences, you can focus on different things, but there are wrong answers. And honestly, I didn't find anything where he was really presenting himself strongly as, here I am. So, certainly by using big vocab words, he's presenting himself more as an expert than, say, Chadron did. But when I categorized information, it's very clear that I need to focus on how he is presenting the addict. I can't focus on the science. So now that I have one category, I now look and say, can the category be divided up into two arguments? Because remember, a good paragraph has two arguments so that you are showing me that there is a pattern, because you don't want there to be just one example or one quote to prove anything. So when I look at this, I see a pattern. This is horrible. This is horrible. This is horrible. This is sympathetic. So those are both about the addict, but I'm seeing different sides. So I've got horrible, but then I have sympathetic. Cherished illusion. It's not horrible, but it's also not sympathetic. It's a little maybe sympathetic in that it kind of shows them as being delusional. Most convenient narcissistic fix. Well, narcissistic, that's them being horrible. Cherished illusion. Oh, honey, sweetie. Yeah, I guess I would put that in the sympathetic. Subterranean doubts. Sympathetic. Their undertakings are cunningly contrived. That's them being horrible. Exceedingly competitive and aggressive. That's horrible. Wondrous mask covering woeful deficits. Oh, honey. Apt to become suicidal. Oh, honey. Futile quest. Yeah. Oh, honey. Ceaseless avaricious ventures. Well, okay. That's back to you are a butt face. So we're going to put that up here. The means by which they reap their riches. I typed this out, but now that I look at it, it doesn't fall into either of my categories. One of the things you have to get used to is getting rid of stuff that doesn't fit. I now see that he is presenting that part of his message, and I am clearly going to be focused on message here. Some paragraphs you may focus on author. If I was writing about Chadron, I would most likely focus on author and her relationship to the audience. This one, I'm going to focus more on the message and how he's trying to convince the audience to see something. So every paragraph, you're going to focus on a different part of the triangle, but you always have to be inside the triangle. So I now have lots of quotes pulled. Am I going to use this many? No. And if you notice, the quotes are all very short. I've not pulled great big long sentences. Never pull great big long sentences, because if you do, you're going to stop focusing on the power of individual words and you're going to start talking about the paragraph in big generalities. But this kind of argument, which is a rhetorical analysis, it is all about this word has this power. So you have to keep it focused on small quotes or even individual words. So I now have a strong sense of where I'm going. I need to have a theme or a message. And that message needs to say, what is it that the author is trying to push, and what part of the rhetorical triangle am I going to focus on? So let me pull out my book and look at how to spell his name. This is an article, so it goes in quotes, books go italicized. Greed, geez, I can type. I'm sitting on the corner of my desk, oddly, so. The ultimate addiction, author Leon F. Seltzer. And by the way, here's the interesting thing, he is a PhD. My guess is he could go really scientific if he wanted to. He's actually choosing not to. Look at how he's appealing more to the emotional side. But in Greed, the Ultimate Addiction, author Leon Seltzer, you always have to have the message. You always have to tell me what part of the rhetorical triangle and what language you're going to focus on. So the author, Leon Seltzer, argues that those who indulge in greed are damaging others and themselves. A message that will hopefully inspire sympathy in the audience. So I can see I'm going to focus on message, I'm going to focus on audience. That's where I'm going in the rhetorical triangle. But the more important part, because not everyone puts this into their rhetorical analysis, but everyone does have to put this. And that is, what is the message? If you do not have a message up front, I don't know what you're arguing. The reader doesn't know what you're arguing. So you're automatically wrong because you're not arguing anything. So now we have a goal. What's our goal? We have to prove that those who indulge in greed are damaging themselves and others. And I then have to move towards, how does this message affect the audience? So what is my first claim? I'm going to organize my claims in a way that's logical. If I'm ultimately wanting to land in sympathy, then I want to put sympathy second. So that's my finishing point, which means I'm going to start with this. So when I look at this language, what is my claim? My claim is that Seltzer presents those who are greedy in an excessively negative light. That's my claim. This is my evidence. Now, when I am doing commentary for, and by the way, I'm not going to keep all that evidence. I'll kind of pick and choose later. But when I'm doing commentary, here's the trick. A rhetorical analysis is going to focus on significance and cause and effect. We've talked about that. You really, at this level, when you're learning it, do not have other options, because you have to keep it focused on what is the effect of that specific language. Why is that specific language significant? So which of these can I really talk about the significance and the effect of them? Narcissistic feels very strong. Cunningly contrived. Absolutely. Aggressive, avaricious. These are words that feel very dangerous. This is someone that you don't want to be around. By using words like aggressive and narcissistic. Seltzer, what's his name? I can never spell his name. I don't know why. Seltzer makes the greed addict sound dangerous. These words connote or imply, if you're not comfortable with that word, that the addict is an active danger to others because the audience has such negative associations with words like narcissist. And actually, that isn't the exact quote, so I'm going to take it off. Quote marks. Oh, I hate this computer setup. I can't actually see what I'm typing, nor can I, just let's retype it because I can't even see what spelling options they're giving me. Hopefully I spelled it right that time. Okay, so these words imply that the addict is an active danger to other because the audience has such a negative associations with words like narcissist. These are people who will psychologically damage others for their own benefit. And by attaching words like aggressive and avaricious to that term narcissist, Seltzer doesn't provide, Seltzer frightens the audience with how serious the problem is, reinforcing the message. What is the message? Don't repeat the whole thing, but do tie back to it. That greed addicts are a threat to those in their lives. So you can see I'm talking about why are those individual words important? How do those individual words affect the audience? How does that help push the message? So that's the commentary. Why are those words significant? What do they cause? They cause fear. So, cause and effect, significance, commentary. That's where we go. Now, I now know what my evidence is going to be. Clearly, I did not use short-sighted doesn't live up to being a cunning, aggressive, avaricious narcissist. Hey, you cunning, aggressive, avaricious narcissist, and by the way, you're also short-sighted. Yeah, it doesn't have the power. If words are not powerful, get rid of them. So I now know what my claim is going to be. I now know what my evidence is going to be. I now know what my commentary is going to be. And here's the trick. If you were in freshman year, I would say it has to be in that order. As a junior, you have to choose what order you put it in. You may actually want to put the evidence first, and that is absolutely okay. I can do that simply by saying, Seltzer describes those who are greedy as people in search of the most narcissistic fix. Now, wait a minute, I have got quotes within quotes. That means the inner quote has to turn into a single quote. So let's get that fixed. Those in search of the most narcissistic fix. and uses, oh, don't hold that. Phrases like competitive and aggressive to reinforce that narcissistic label. So I'm actually jumping right into evidence. I could continue to present the rest of my evidence. Um, but I could, in fact, put my claim in the middle of my evidence. He does this to show those who are greedy in, rather than using adverbs, ly words are actually pretty weak. You want to kind of avoid them. Those who are greedy in the most negative light. He continues by calling their undertakings, oops, cunningly contrived. And their business deals avaricious. And look, I pulled a single word out, and my evidence is a single word because it's a really powerful word. And the thing with my evidence is I need to pull the most powerful words because, and I might even take this out of quotes because it's not that powerful, by calling their undertakings, their deals, their money deals. And yeah, I could clean that up and make it fancier. By calling their money deals cunningly contrived and their calling their, I hate money deals. By calling their ventures. And that is a word from the article, so I'll probably do a whole thesaurus search later, but I'm not going to now, in part because I'm having trouble even seeing the screen. He continues, that's not the word, by calling their ventures cunningly contrived and their business deals avaricious. So I have now pulled my evidence, but you can see you don't have to put claim, evidence, commentary. I put evidence up front and then the claim and then some more evidence and then I put my commentary. That's fine. The three pieces need to be there, but the order in which you put those three pieces is in fact unique to you as the author. So I'm going to finish up this paragraph, and here's what I want you to do with the second half. Because yes, this is half a paragraph. You've not shown me the entire message that you're trying to prove. You've shown me one side, and the one side is that he shows those who are greedy in a very negative light. You haven't yet shown me that they are damaging themselves and that Seltzer is in fact trying to inspire sympathy. So if you finished here, you would get a very bad grade for two reasons. One, you only have one argument in a paragraph, where ideally paragraphs have two. And second, you have not done what the topic sentence sets out to prove. Whatever you put in the topic sentence, oh boy, you better prove it. But I'm going to go finish the second half, and I want you to take a look at it, and I want you to tell me what order did I put the evidence, the claim, and the commentary.